We are back. Once again, Davante Adams inks a 2-year deal with the Rams. I'm with Ray. It had to be Ray that jumps on for this one. This is a big move, Ray. We typically don't see big moves like this prior to the tampering period started, but Adams was cut by the Jets, eligible to sign early, replacing effectively Cooper Kupp with the Rams, even though he's still technically on the roster. But talk about this. This is a huge move, a lot of fantasy impact, which we'll get to here in a second. But what's your thoughts?
Yeah, this was I didn't expect to see Davante Adams to the Rams when I woke up this morning. I don't know if you heard rumors or smoke around this one, but I was hearing the Giants, multiple teams, potentially the Raiders. I didn't hear anything about him linking back up with Sean McVay. So my initial gut reaction, gut feel to hear this is good for Matthew Stafford, good for Davante Adams, good for Puka Nacua. I think this is I don't feel any worse or better about Puka Nacua, and I don't feel any worse about Davante Adams. My first thought that I wanted to do with you on this stream is kind of talk about Adams versus some of these 25 rookies. This is a good spot. What he does, the way that he plays, if he is still Davante Adams, which at the end of last season, it sure as hell looked like he was still Davante Adams to me, he and Puka are going to be excellent complements to one another. You've got Stafford back. You've got one of the best offensive minds in Sean McVay, and you've got an offensive situation where they just brought back an offensive lineman. So I really like this at all the way around, man. This is a veteran that I want for fantasy football. I'm excited about this, Scott.
Yeah, here he is on Keep Trade Cut, Ray. This is wide receiver 51, which is just a product of the fact that he's not on a roster, right?
Yeah.
Like people don't know what to do with him. He's kind of in purgatory. I mean, back to back with Tank Dell. Come on. Tank Dell's dead for next year, let alone I'm not even sure what he is when he comes back. But he's right there with guys like Xavier Legette. I mean, if you were willing to move a young guy like Legette, if you just wanted out of him, you could tack something on and just reap the Adams production and not lose sleep over I lost Xavier Legette. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like me personally seeing how he was used, the situation that he's in, they're probably going to add weapons around Xavier Legette. Like, I don't know if he ever has a single peak moment or even a single statistical impact year that makes me regret trading him away if I have to tack on a second to get Adams. Like, just that's how you use a guy like Legette that's in no man's land, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. If I can do a deal like that where I'm moving Legette into 2, hell yeah. Hey, hell yeah. And just correct me if I'm wrong. He didn't finish the season looking like he'd lost a step, did he? Just making sure that my recollection is appropriate here for Davante Adams. And hell, you got the Trinity pulled up over here on DD Fantasy Football, the best usage tracker in the game. Look at Kupp. Was this full season, Cooper Kupp?
Yeah, this is Rams 2024 full season. Obviously, you got Puka way up here.
Yeah.
Almost 19 points per game, elite usage above the regression line. And we usually look at above this regression line. Like Puka not only was used like an elite receiver, but he outproduced his usage because he's damn good. But right here, I mean, if you told me I'd get a 6.5 Trinity and 15 points a game from Adams, and I think Adams probably had more left than Kupp, obviously, because the Rams think that they're moving on from one and signing the other. But like, if you just got this from Adams, I'd be good with it. You know what I mean? Like that's top 20 receiver, maybe not top 10, but like, man, this is a huge windfall for Adams to be able to go to this situation.
Can you just hover over Tutu Atwell's? I just want to see where he was. He's one of them dots way back there. But where was
right here? 4.59 for the season, but probably the lowest below the regression line for the Rams, obviously, than all of them. So, you know, they're running it back. I bet you we probably see a couple of the tight ends in here. Marcus Robinson will be gone. Tyler Higbee, okay, he'll be back. Tight ends, Parkinson, Higbee. Bet you Davis Allen is in here. Point is, this is Kupp or Adams and Puka, and a bunch of peripheral options. The Jordan Whittington dream is probably dead at this point. You didn't even get a sell window for like 2 days. If you had Whittington, you were hoping that Kupp got moved, right? And then they didn't have another guy for a week or 2 weeks or waited until the draft. But yeah, the Whittington dream is probably dead. I want to show this too. This is Adams from last year, but this is on the Jets. And obviously this is a split between when he got traded to the Jets and for the full season. It's low. It's only a 507 for the year, but look how far above that Trinity line. Talk about when you see a player that high above the line, like he can't control the usage, right?
Correct.
That's how the team is playing him. That's how the team's deploying him. But when you see a guy that's just this far ahead, that tells you he still has some juice left, right?
100%. That's how you read that. When I see any dot well above that regression line, that means he is outpacing other players who get similar type of usage, target share, volume, first downs, all of that stuff. He's significantly outproducing that, which means he's still damn good. You pair him with a good quarterback, with an efficient quarterback and an offense that's designing plays to help their playmakers thrive. Scott, I'm asking you, man, is this something that you saw happening? Adams to the Rams, not Adams moving. We all knew he wasn't going to play in New York, but was this one that you had heard rumors of? Because I had not heard anything about this fit, and I'm loving it, dude.
No, not necessarily. I mean, I think people probably projected the Rams to replace Kupp with somebody, but there wasn't a lot out there in this free agency period to say you could just replace Cooper Kupp's role with another veteran. It was Godwin. It was Adams. Higgins didn't hit the market. So you were looking at like, okay, what are
those rookies, Egbuka and this rookie and that rookie. So now I don't know. I don't know if that's still what they do with their first round pick. I don't know if they're going wide receiver there with Adams and Puka. I love this.
Well, I was going to ask you, does this, because we just talked about this with the Aaron Jones video. I asked Shane about the draft impact of, okay, the Vikings, they don't really have a running back. Now they bring Aaron Jones back, but they don't have a lot of draft capital, right? They only had a first, a 2/3, and a fifth. So the odds they were taking a running back in the first probably went way down now. Like they're probably going to take one. But talk about this from a Rams draft perspective. Does it make sense for the Rams to even consider a receiver on day 2 or higher? No?
Day 2, maybe somewhere in day 2, but I think it absolutely knocks out the need for a wide receiver at pick 26. There's no way in hell I'm trading for Davante Adams. I'm building an offense around Puka Nacua, and I'm throwing the ball concentrated target volume to those guys. There's also rumors that Demarcus Robinson potentially on the move, which signaled that Tutu Atwell signing. I do not believe they'll be in the market for a wide receiver early. That didn't preclude them from taking one later, but you've got Jordan Whittington on the roster, cost-controlled option, cheap as hell. I think you can dead those Emeka Egbuka to the Ram options, and honestly, I wouldn't even care if I was a Rams fan. Give me Davante Adams all day, every day over Emeka Egbuka.
Yeah, he's wide receiver 28 on Underdog, early 5th round pick. I think that will move up as people start to realize the concentration of the Rams offense historically. I mean, do you remember where Kupp was going at the end of the offseason last year, Ray? Like damn near early 3rd, late 2nd.
Oh, yeah, 2nd round, yeah.
I mean, so there's probably some profit to be made on Adams. I'll say this, and I think we could probably end it here unless you have any other thoughts. People don't want to hear this, but I don't think it's out of bounds if the Rams are going to draft smart this year, now that that first round pick can probably not be used on the receiver position anymore. I don't think it's crazy, and I've heard a lot of content creators out there saying this will not happen. I don't think it's crazy the Rams take another running back. A 4th round running back because immediately it's all that their backfield is locked down. It's Corum, it's Kyron, it's nobody else. This could shift where they maybe use another pick on a running back instead of attacking a receiver or a tight end. Rams could take a tight end. You never know.
Could. They should. What do you mean could? They should. And they should draft another running back. They should. Just like the Bengals should draft another running back. Just like the Patriots should draft a running back. The damn Ravens need to draft another one. Not to replace Derrick Henry, but because the class is so rich and talent-filled at the position, you'd be crazy not to get cost-controlled options here. So I like what the Rams are doing offensively. Here's my big takeaway from this signing. Bet on good offenses. This is going to be another good offense. So here's the thing. You and I may not think Kyron Williams is the best running back in the league. But if they don't make significant changes at that position, if they continue to add to this offense, if they add an offensive tackle in round 1, I want to invest in good pieces of this offense. I want Puka. I want Adams. I want Kyron. I want a shot at that RB2, whether that's Corum or somebody else. If they draft a tight end, I want pieces of a good, efficient offense led by a quarterback who they know exactly what they want to do with him. As far as landing spots for a new player on a new team, I can't think of a better fit than Davante Adams with Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford. This should work very well. And I just want to rattle off some of Adams' end of season numbers. Let me just rattle a few off from Halloween on October 31st. 7 receptions on 11 targets, 6 receptions on 13 targets, 6 receptions on 7, 5 on 12, 9 on 11, 9 on 12, 7 on 13, 5 for 8. And then his final game, 12 targets, 6 receptions. Sandwiched in there was a 198-yard game. Like, he can still play. The efficiency wasn't great. There wasn't a lot of yardage. The Jets were kind of a mess. But as far as Adams and his skill set, Scott, what a great spot for an old veteran, man. And my question to you is, I'm going to put you on the spot here. You got you've got a contending team picking at the 110. Just barely missed that finals, right? You're at the 110, and you're sitting there and you're toiling between drafting Luther Burden, Matthew Golden, Emeka Egbuka, and you got a shot to get Davante Adams. Like, how aggressive would you be in obtaining him or acquiring him? Or is it still one of those things where I really don't want to trade a first-round pick for a 32-year-old wide receiver?
It's funny you asked that, because I actually have the exact same situation that I'm dealing with in an actual league where I got offered Deebo Samuel and Tyreek Hill for the 110 and a 27 third. Now, I would prefer Adams to Tyreek, but I think you could use them as interchangeable in the discussion of this trade. The key for me was I'm getting the 2 pieces, right? I'm not just buying the receiver, but I'm getting that second piece. Am I really high on Deebo? Maybe, maybe not. But having that second piece, if I could get a second piece tacked on like that, and I'm basically paying a third for it, I'd be fine doing something like that. But it's really an opportunity cost debate. It's not about, is Adams worth the 110? Because easily anybody in this chat right now could tell me I could justify paying the 110, 111, a late 26 first. Hell, the 26 first might even be a better pick to trade. Just the nature of how that class is being viewed right now. It's just an opportunity cost debate, though. Do I want to fire that bullet in March?
Right.
Or do I want to hold it until rookie draft time? Do I want to kick it to the future? Wait until the season.
Scott Connor. Did you see it? We got to talk about it. I know we're here for Adams, but did you see the Allen news, Josh Allen extension?
I see it in the chat. Yep. They're 6/3/30, 250 guaranteed.
$250 million guaranteed for the 2024 NFL Most Valuable Player, Josh Allen. Wow. Tying him to Buff. Not that we thought he would go anywhere. Not that we thought Josh Allen would go anywhere, but the deal is through 2030. $250 million guaranteed, NFL's highest paid quarterback. Wow. What type of impact? Not so much on Allen. I don't really think there's a lot to talk about besides well done, well deserved. And what else do you have to say? He's best player in football. What impact does this have on the other players? We saw Garrett get extended. We don't have to talk through that. New contract. What impact does this have on Brock Purdy? What impact does this have on some of the young quarterbacks coming up, seeing this, right? Seeing the Allens get paid, seeing some of these guys, Dak. How is this going to shape the QB landscape, Scott Connor?
Well, I just saw, it was a tweet the other day where if you just looked at the top 10 basically cap hits for this year, like Allen and Mahomes were not in the top 10 because they signed their deals so far back. So I think this is probably just refreshing that to get the best quarterback in the league, at least according to 2024, onto that list. I think what it does is it actually gives an advantage. And I because I'm a Bengals fan, I would speak to being a little bit of an advantage that you signed your quarterback a couple years ago relative to the current market. I mean, we were texting earlier, like that Garrett deal, that just makes signing Jamar Chase and Micah Parsons 20% more expensive than it was last year. Just because the team waits and, what are they not going to sign them? You know what I mean? Like, it just feels like, the early bird gets the worm. And in this case, it's not us. But I think the impact is these teams that signed their QBs a couple years ago are sitting here going like, yeah, do we really think the Trevor Lawrence deal is a great deal? No, but when you see what it's going to cost to extend Brock Purdy, it's like, okay, we're back on even ground with the 49ers now. When 2 years ago, you were laughing at the Jaguars going, man, they're paying their quarterback this much, and Brock Purdy's playing for $800,000 a year. They're back on even ground now. So I just think it just continues to go up, and it's how does the team use the cap space and the freedom that the Bills are going to get from this Josh Allen deal? How do they use that to their advantage during their biggest window to win? So that's the takeaway.
All right, Scott, let's do a quick would you rather. We talked all that stuff about Davante Adams. How do you feel about Puka Nacua? What are your, not my thoughts, not the public's thoughts, what are your thoughts? Because they are still a small, tiny piss hole amount of people who don't believe that Puka Nacua is truly an elite wide receiver. They still feel Davante Adams is that. Cooper Kupp is gone. What does this do? How do you anticipate? I saw the chat. Anticipate or project the target share in this offense next year. What is this going to look like in your opinion? Because I don't think that both guys are going to be 1,500-yard receivers. You know, I know that sounds good. I'd love for that to happen, but I don't think you're getting both Davante Adams and Puka Nacua 1,500 yards, 10-plus touchdowns. So how do you see this offensive situation shake out? And we can wrap up after this because I'm sure there'll be more news breaking over the next couple of hours.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Puka's better than Adams. I think it's a great compliment because it gives him another legitimate weapon alongside of, he probably didn't have that with Kupp last year. Kupp down the stretch was awful, and Puka still produced. So I think that any lag on Puka is not as great as people think because of his draft capital. I mean, he's still, I just go back to what Shane says. I mean, literally, he says Puka's his wide receiver 3. Wide receiver
in
4.
In Dynasty?
It's him and Neighbors, and everybody else is a tick behind. And that's a little aggressive, I think, relative to the market. But, you ask him Puka or CD, Puka or Amon-Ra, Puka. So I think you can debate whether he's wide receiver 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It doesn't matter. They're all in that tier where if that's where you're going to get a season of 20-plus points per game, it's coming from those guys. It's not coming from the next tier of Jordan Addison, Garrett Wilson, Drake London. They're probably not hitting that elite number. So it just depends on pick your poison in there with Puka. But I think it's great for him. I mean, how couldn't it be? He's lived alongside another receiver like this his whole career with the same quarterback and the same offense. Why would we expect anything less than what he's done the last couple seasons?
I think they're good scheme fits for one another too. A lot of the dirty work and some of the things that Puka does well, it complements exactly what Adams is good at. If I had to guess roles, I still believe that Puka Nacua is going to lead them in receptions. I believe he'll lead them in yards, but I would not be shocked if Davante Adams was that guy in the red zone. We saw Matthew Stafford continuously target Cooper Kupp in the red zone, trusted him to be open, back shoulder balls, winning quickly. Davante Adams is a monster on those slant routes and back shoulder fades. I think they're going to operate similarly to how Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua lived, but Adams has some more left in the tank. I don't think the injuries have taken the toll on Davante Adams like they obviously and clearly have for Kupp. Great situation. You've got one of the best offensive minds, a great offensive situation. O-line is still improving. I like this a lot for the Rams. Good move for them.
Well, since we were going to do Destination Chill tonight, and we're not going to, unfortunately, but I want to ask you, I want to keep it going with one more question.
Okay.
What would the impact of the Rams taking a tight end have for you? How would you see that tight end fit? Let's not assume it's a first-round tight end, but let's assume it's a Terrence Ferguson.
Ferguson the third, huh?
Arroyo, Ferguson, Mason Taylor, somebody like that where you're like, I like the fit, I like the offense. Should people be a little skeptical of that guy smashing right away, though, given that Adams and Puka are literally going to take up 55 to 60% of that passing offense?
Yeah, I think once you identify which tight end it would be, which I would not anticipate a rookie tight end coming in with whomever's there. I don't know who. I have no clue what that tight end room looks like right now in LA, but I would not anticipate any rookie, Terrence Ferguson, Oronde Gadsden, Luke Lachey, any of them coming in and dominating and being the guy right off the bat. But once identified, I think it's a nice piece to have. You wanted Tyler Higbee. We wanted something from Colby Parkinson and Davis Allen, but ultimately that slice of the target share pie, I don't believe is going to have any impact on Puka Nacua and Davante Adams. It's its own slice of pie that gets divvied up in between players in positions that we don't even really think about. Those are extra targets for Tutu Atwell. That's an extra pass or two to Kyron Williams. That's when Ronnie Rivers gets in and catches a screen. That would be reserved for that tight end they would draft. I don't believe it would impact Davante and Puka Nacua at all. I believe there's probably, let's just be conservative here, Scott, and say 44% of that passing offense is already allocated. I'm not going to say 50. I'm trying to be conservative. 45% of that offense. You think it's even more? Even 55% of that offense?
Neighbors and Wandale were at over 60 last year.
Well, then put it that way. If we say 60% of that offense is reserved for those two, sure, I would want some pieces of other pass catchers because they're good. It's a good offense. Did you not want Demarcus Robinson in best ball? When it was Tutu Atwell, could you not use him in best ball? Absolutely, you want, but it's volatile. It's volatile as shit because it's only 40% of the pie.
Yeah, I mean, they still have Parkinson under contract. They have Higbee back. But I'll end it with this. Here's my prediction. The Rams will draft their updated version of Gerald Everett and take Harold Fannin with one of their third-round picks or their fourth-round pick. And the dynasty community will not know what to do with it. So thank you.
On that.
Everybody that's tuned in. This is fun. We're going to continue with these breaking news blurbs over the next couple days. It'll usually be me, but I'll jump on with somebody and we'll literally talk in real time the impact of signings, trades, etc. Thank you for tapping in with the community, ddfantasyfootball.com. Everything you saw on the screen today with the Trinity, you can find on the website. Jump in, use the promo code in the description, get 50% off the first month, and be part of our community. Thank you. Next time. See you.